like, it's in there. I was trying to be thoughtful. I don't know. I thought that would be thoughtful.
What?
All inclusive, baby. All inclusive, baby. We going to Dubai on week. We going to Dubai. Merry Christmas. We going to Dubai. Look at it. The tickets is in there, baby. The tickets is in there. The tickets is in there. We finna be shaking out by like New Year's. The tickets is in there. Look in there. Yeah.
What is this?
DNA test report. Yeah. 0% paternity probability. Yeah. Our son? Nah, yeah, that's not me. This right here say, my son ain't my son. And you ain't even got nothing to explain, because this explained it already. Yeah, matter of fact, no, it's not. Go to the next page. I'm going to show you how much I'm joking. I'm going to show you divorce settlement agreement. Divorce settlement. I already pre-made it up. Divorce agreement. It's up.
What is this?
You know what that means. That means we over with. We over with. Get out my house. Get out my...
What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Stars. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my videos. Today we are going to be reacting to drama, very messy family secrets. I feel like every family has those, family secrets. Some choose to go to the grave with them, and some choose to talk about it, expose it, blast it all over social media. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. The most important thing that does is it helps to break those generational curses and cycles that have continued for years and years. I know that, that was something that I didn't want for my family, and those cycles did stop with me. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this topic, so please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get right into the video. Thanks again for tuning in.
The person that gave me HIV, who knew he had it, and he had it for many years. I was 19 years old and just had a baby. This is actually my favorite photo of us. This is when we was in the beginning of our happy place, even though I didn't know he was living a double life. It's never easy to talk about how my dad introduced me to my ex-husband. My dad said this is one of his friends. Everyone knew that I was the preacher's kid, so they have this obsession over preacher's daughters. And my dad wanted me to marry, and he introduced us because he felt like we would be a good fit. I thought that he was just a member of my dad's church. I wanted to get away, but I felt trapped. I don't even look the same. I looked depressed, and I was losing weight. I also believed that I was positive here, and I did not know, and you can tell from my cheekbones. I'm starting to look sick. And this is when I was pregnant with our daughter Elizabeth. When I found out that my dad and my husband at the time were sleeping together, I felt betrayed. I felt disgusted. I felt like I wasn't worth anything, and I didn't believe in the word loyalty anymore. I don't talk to my dad anymore, but my ex-husband does pop in and pop out. I did lock him up.
This is the story of how I met my dad's secret family. When I was 14, my dad took me on a work trip because his company was having like a family weekend. At the time, my mom and dad were still married, and my mom really encouraged me to go on this trip because my dad traveled a lot for work, so I didn't really get to see him that much, so I ended up going. Now, I was under the impression this was going to be a trip just for my dad and I to bond, and we would be doing everything together. However, that was not the case. Things got really weird on this trip pretty quickly as soon as he introduced me to his coworker. We were doing an office tour one day, and we stopped by his coworker's office. He introduces me to her, and I notice that she's very pregnant. Usually this wouldn't raise concern by any means, but alarm bells started going off in my head when they told me to go walk around for a little bit while they talked. I walked around aimlessly in this office building for 2 hours while they were doing whatever in her office. After the 2 hours, I go back and check in on them, and it seemed like they had a heated debate about something. And once I arrived, they quickly separated, and my dad took me to like the festival part of the family weekend. I was like, great, finally the festival part where there's live music and rides and good food, and little 14-year-old me is so excited for it to be just like my dad and I again. But boy, was I in for something. Like an hour into the festival, pregnant coworker, comes and meets up with us, but this time she has her 2 kids in tow. Her 2 kids were a lot younger than me. I was 14, and I think they were between the ages of like 6 and 10. While we were waiting in line for something, her youngest kid turns to my dad, asks him a question, but calls him dad, and then immediately follows it up with, "Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to call you that." The way my jaw dropped to the floor when the youngest kid said that. It was that moment where all the pieces fit together in my brain. 1, my mom wasn't on this trip with us. 2, it's weird that we're spending all this time with his coworker and her 2 kids. Oh yeah, also, she's super pregnant, and oh, her youngest kid just called my dad. I knew he was cheating in that moment, and that he was most likely the one to get her pregnant. Oh, for the rest of the trip, I did not talk to my dad. Like, we were beefing, and he didn't understand that I knew what was going on. So immediately when I got back from the trip, I went and I told my mom. I had to be the one to tell her at 14 years old that I spent this entire work trip with my dad and his pregnant coworker, and that her youngest kid called him dad. After this, it came out that my dad had been cheating on my mom for a long time with this woman. And that yes, he was in fact the father of her baby. Long story short, my parents ended up getting a divorce, and my dad moved to go be with the coworker. You guys, she had been married at the time too, okay? So she also got a divorce to be with my dad, and now they all live together as like a happy family. I tried when I was in my teens to like be a part of that family and like make the relationship with my dad work. However, it just never really clicked. There were a lot of issues. So I'm actually no contact with my dad, and at this point I'm also no contact with my mom, but that is what happened. Don't cheat, and also don't take your kids to meet your secret family. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, so what's some family tea that you found out about when you got older? I'm gonna go first.
You know, I don't think I've ever said this story to anybody out loud, but I guess now that I'm an adult orphan, my mom's not here, my dad's not here, I can tell their business, right? It's only right. And if you're a part of my family and you see this and you get offended, I'm sorry, but it's my truth. All right, bet. So it's 2015. I'm 27 years old. I get invited to my cousin on my father's side barbecue. So I grab my son. We go out there. We're having a good time. He's 7 at the time. Having a great time. My father's there. Whole bunch of my family is there on my father's side. My oldest sister is there. There are 4 of us, okay? I have an older sister, a brother, a sister right above me, and then me. Me and my oldest sister were 17 years apart. Me and my brother are 14 years apart. And me and my sister right above me were 8 years apart, okay? That is pertinent to the story. So we having a good time. Black people barbecue, hot weather. We having a good time. People dancing, eating, drinking. My father drinking. My father drinking. My father drinking. So I'm outside with my father and my favorite uncle, and we just chilling. We just whatever. We talking. My father, he a little lit. I'm a little lit, but not like lit. My father was lit. I'm just nice. My uncle, he was sober. He a cop. We love him. I love him to death. He basically raised me too. So my father, in his drunkenness, decides to tell my 27-year-old self, "Oh, did you know that you're the baby of the side chick?" The baby other side chick? What the hell are you talking about? Well, I was with your sister's mother when you were born. I never really told anybody about your mother, so I just brought you around one day and they were like, whose baby is that? And yeah, that was basically. Now I'm sitting there with the screw face, okay? Because I'm 27 years old. Boo-boo, no one's ever told me this. My uncle is looking at me because he can see that I'm about to cry. And my uncle is like, oh, you know, I remember when you were a baby and you were so beautiful and you were this and you were that. Child, I was gone. I was like, what? So I had to go inside and find my older sister because I knew that if my sister told me this, then it was going to be true if she validated it for me because she's 17 years older than me. She keep it straight with me, whatever. And when I found my sister, she going to tell me, she goes, okay, well, did anybody ever treat you any different? Me, I was like, no. She's like, all right then. So yeah, that's the day that I found out that the family T was me.
So, listen, right? I can't keep it to my fucking self. And I don't know if you want to consider it story time. I don't know what you want to consider it. But I can't hold it. I got to tell somebody else, right? So, I'm at work, right? My sister know my schedule very well. She's blowing my phone up. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? So, I go to the bathroom and I call her. And I'm like, what's up? She like, you remember I did that ancestry thing or whatever to try to find some family members? So I'm like, yeah. Now, mind you, me and her share the same dad, but my sister is mixed. So, you know how mixed people is. They wanna find their people. So she go on there, right? And she get a click. She get a notification or whatever. I don't know. That somebody is related to her. Boom. The person is so close in DNA that she either has to be my sister's niece or my sister's sister, which is my sister as well, right? So now my sister all excited, like, oh shit, we got a sister out there. Da-da-da-da-da. Bam. My sister reaches out to the girl. Oh man, it's getting steep. My sister reaches out to the girl to ask the girl, you know, like, have you ever heard of me or my father, anybody in my family? The girl's like, no. You know, but she lived in the same town as my sister, grew up in the same town as my sister, right? So she says no, but she starts naming her people. When she starts naming her people, her grandma, listen, her grandma used to go with my dad. Now, how do I know this? Because my dad was with my sister's mom when he made me. He cheated on my sister's mom with me, but he also was messing with this other woman because that's how my mom knew about the other woman. So he was running all three of these women, right? Boom. So she says that the lady that he used to go with is her grandma. So that would mean that my dad had sex with his girlfriend's daughter. Hold up. It gets even deeper. This is why I couldn't keep this to myself. She would have been underage at the time. This puts my dad in a predator box. So now me and my sister are like confused. Do we open this door and find out about our sister? Or do we close it because it could possibly expose my dad for something we've never ever looked at him for doing? Like never. When I tell you I've never got a pedophile vibe from my dad, never. My dad used to go to prison a lot when I was younger, like a lot, you know. And when he came home, like he, you know, my dad always a big man. He's a big man right now. So I just cannot fathom my dad, this big man. Like, and when I say my dad big, like he love weights, 70-something years old, still go to the fucking gym. I cannot imagine if this, like, I cannot just fathom my dad going with the mom and somehow got the daughter pregnant. Oh my God. I can't even put myself in a girl's shoes. I don't know. And this is why I can't keep it to myself, because it's like, what do we do? Do we go to my dad and question him? Do we go to the girl's mom? Like, who do you go to, and how is this like the correct way of going about this? My dad could possibly had slept with a minor, his girlfriend's child, and made a baby. When I tell you this is so far-fetched, like, nobody would have ever thought this. I'm like, oh my God. This was like such a bad thing that my sister did this. Because now, like, how do we supposed to look at my dad? And I feel so bad for the girl. Because she's grown up like her mom she has like a family, like a mom, like her dad. She thinks she has a dad and everything. That can't be your dad because DNA says that my dad is your dad. So your mom kept this secret? Did she even tell your grandmom? Like, oh my God, there's so many questions to this, and I am like, I gotta get off of work. I have to get off of work because I just need to sit somewhere and just like think, how is this possible? And why did I never ever get a vibe from my dad, like pedophile vibes? Could that DNA be lying? Could the ancestry thing like messed it up? Because it says she has to be my niece or my sister, and there's no way she could be my niece. Because her mom was 16 when she had her. My oldest brother would have been 9. There's no way she's my niece. There's no way. Close the door or open the door. What do we do?
I'm sitting in a
When your family secret is about you. So when my mother got pregnant with me, she already had my older brother who was 3 years older than me and by another man, and they were already split up. Well, she got pregnant with me. So she decided she didn't want me. So she told my dad that she had a miscarriage and left him, gave me to her sister who couldn't have children. So growing up, I thought my mother was my aunt and my aunt was my mom. Well, my mother, my biological mother, decided to have 4 more children and keep them. So one of our other crazy aunts told us the truth when I was about 16 years old and we didn't believe her. So we started looking through pictures and I realized that all the pictures of my mom, in the hospital holding me, she was sitting by the bed and there was somebody else in the bed. So we asked her grandmother and she told us the truth. And so it wasn't until I was 34 that I found my dad. And then I have a crappy relationship with my mother a whole life. Tried real hard. She wasn't having it.
I feel like every family has family secrets, but I just want to expose the fuck out of mine. Because I think they're genuinely just so weird. Why should I not just like expose the fuck out of it? Growing up, my grandma always had this boyfriend. Let's call him Jared. My grandma was dating Jared. They never got married, but like a long-term boyfriend. I'm talking like 30 years. Probably fucking more than that. Jared is technically my mom's stepdad. Just keep that in mind. So a couple years ago, my grandma kicks it. She passes away. Rest in peace, bitch. Like, I love you. My grandma is dead. Leaves us all with Jared. Personally, I never fucked with Jared. I just was like, I don't like you. But ever since my grandma's passing, Jared has found a new obsession with my mother. Ignore this eye, I have allergies. It does look like I just ripped the fattest blunt though. Say a year and a half ago, I get a call from my mom being like, Jared's being really fucking weird. I'm like, what is he doing? It's like, Jared sent me a text that he wants me to get dressed up and treat me like Pretty Woman. I said, bitch, what the fuck? My mom's like, no, Jared has like lost his mind. He also called your aunt, telling your aunt about a wet dream that he had. I said, bitch. Thing is, this is so unlike Jared. Like, my entire life before my grandma kicked it, Jared was not the type to be like creepy and fucking weird like he is now. It's insane. First part about this whole thing is like, it just gets worse, and Jared thinks my mom is equally obsessed with him. And my mom's like, what the fuck? Like, this is basically my stepdad. They were never that close either. Like, one time my mom was talking about her boyfriend and Jared's like, I don't want to hear about this. Like, Jared convinced himself that he was in a love triangle with my mom and her ex-boyfriend. Mom's like, this is getting really fucking weird. Like, I don't know what to do. She's receiving texts every day. Like, you're so gorgeous. You're so beautiful. From Jared. Jared is convinced my mom and him are like dating. The thing is, it's like, he's not losing it really. Like, he's at a good state of mind. Like, yeah, he's old as shit, but like, he knows better to try and fuck his basically his ex-wife's like daughter. So last week, my mom texted Jared and she was like, hey, just like making sure you're okay with all the snow and everything. Here's the thing is, my mom's a good woman. Cause if it was me, I'd be like, Jared, shut the fuck up. Like, stop trying to hit on me. You're creepy as shit. Like, my mom was like, no, I would never do that. Like, such an angel. So Jared responds to my mom's text, and I'll post all of these on my Instagram story. Jared responds and it was like, oh, I'm okay. Thank you for like checking up on me. Like, da-da-da, thank you. And then my mom just hearts the message, like just loves the message. This motherfucker texts my mom and is like, Dina, you showed me with all the hearts that you sent today that the feelings I have for you are mutual. Because my mother loved his message. Like, my darling Dina, all the hearts that I've received from you today just shows that you're feeling the exact same way about me. My mom's like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck did that happen? So Jared now thinks that my mother mother is obsessed with him because she loves some of his messages. Jared's like, oh, this bitch wants to fuck. So Jared keeps texting my mom like, oh my God. But he never would say, oh my God. Jared's like, meet me here for breakfast, do this with me. And my mom's like, no, actually I can't. Like, I'm headed to the city. And he's like, why? He's like, your daughter still live down there? My mom's like, no, like my boyfriend lives down there. I'm going to go see my boyfriend. Jared's weird ass loses his goddamn mind. He's like, boyfriend? My mom's like, yeah, like I mentioned to you that my boyfriend lives down there. Jared's like, you never mentioned that. My mom calls me and she's like, Libby, he's literally lost his mind. I'm like, Mom, it is so crazy to me that like you don't block this man. Like, yeah, we might have to see him at like family parties and things like that. But like, I would just set him so straight and be like, Jared, you're so fucking weird. So now Jared is just pissed off that my mom has a different boyfriend. And like, the thing is, Jared fully met and talked to my mom's boyfriend at Christmas Eve. The thing is, I always tell my mom, I'm like, give me one shot. Like, just please let me just have a phone call with Jared so I could be like, bro, literally fuck all the way off. Like, literally stop being a fucking creep. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the sick and twisted part of my brain is like, what if I just like told Jared my mom's equally in love with him and make him propose to her at like Christmas dinner just because I find it fucking funny? And like, I just know my sisters would also eat that up. They'd be like, this is too funny. Like, just really play a huge fucking joke on my mom. But honestly, I really wouldn't be funny to Jared. He actually would think that he's getting married to my mother because he lives in the land of Delulu. And don't get me wrong, I'm a frequent visitor of the land of Delulu. But I'm not that Delulu where I would think my dead girlfriend's daughter would let me hit. Like, Jared's a different breed. And those are just a little bit of my weird family secret. I feel like every family has family secrets, but I just want to expose the fuck out of mine because I think they're genuinely just so weird. Why should I not just like expose the fuck out of it? Growing up, my grandma always had this boyfriend. Let's call him Jared. My grandma was dating Jared. They never got married, but like a long-term boyfriend. I'm talking like 30 years. Probably fucking more than that. Jared is technically my mom's stepdad. Just keep that in mind. So a couple years ago, my grandma kicks it. She passes away. Rest in peace, bitch. Like, I love you. My grandma is dead. Leaves us all with Jared. Personally, I never fucked with Jared. I just was like, I don't like you. But ever since my grandma's passing, Jared has found a new obsession with my mother. Ignore this eye, I have allergies. It does look like I just ripped the fattest blunt though. Say a year and a half ago, I get a call from my mom being like, Jared's being really fucking weird. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, Jared sent me a text that he wants me to get dressed up and treat me like Pretty Woman. I said, bitch, what the fuck? My mom's like, no, Jared has like lost his mind. He also called your aunt, telling your aunt about a wet dream that he had. I said, bitch. Thing is, this is so unlike Jared. Like, my entire life before my grandma kicked it, Jared was not the type to be like creepy and fucking weird like he is now. It's insane. First part about this whole thing is like, it just gets worse, and Jared thinks my mom is equally obsessed with him. And my mom's like, what the fuck? Like, this is basically my stepdad. They were never that close either. Like, one time my mom was talking about her boyfriend and Jared's like, I don't want to hear about this. Like, Jared convinced himself that he was in a love triangle with my mom and her ex-boyfriend. Mom's like, this is getting really fucking weird. Like, I don't know what to do. She's receiving texts every day. Like, you're so gorgeous. You're so beautiful. From Jared. Jared is convinced my mom and him are like dating. The thing is, it's like, he's not losing it really. Like, he's at a good state of mind. Like, yeah, he's old as shit, but like, he knows better to try and fuck his basically his ex-wife's like daughter. So last week, my mom texted Jared and she was like, hey, just like making sure you're okay with all the snow and everything. Here's the thing is, my mom's a good woman. Cause if it was me, I'd be like, Jared, shut the fuck up. Like, stop trying to hit on me. You're creepy as shit. Like, my mom was like, no, I would never do that. Like, such an angel. So Jared responds to my mom's text, and I'll post all of these on my Instagram story. Jared responds and it was like, oh, I'm okay. Thank you for like checking up on me. Like, da-da-da, thank you. And then my mom just hearts the message, like just loves the message. This motherfucker texts my mom and is like, Dina, you showed me with all the hearts that you sent today that the feelings I have for you are mutual. Because my mother loved his message. Like, my darling Dina, all the hearts that I've received from you today just shows that you're feeling the exact same way about me. My mom's like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck did that happen? So Jared now thinks that my mother is obsessed with him because she loves some of his messages. Jared's like, oh, this bitch wants to fuck. So Jared keeps texting my mom like, oh my God. But he never would say, oh my God. Jared's like, meet me here for breakfast, do this with me. And my mom's like, no, actually I can't. Like, I'm headed to the city. And he's like, why? He's like, your daughter still live down there? My mom's like, no, like my boyfriend lives down there. I'm going to go see my boyfriend. Jared's weird ass loses his goddamn mind. He's like, boyfriend? My mom's like, yeah, like I mentioned to you that my boyfriend lives down there. Jared's like, you never mentioned that. My mom calls me and she's like, Libby, he's literally lost his mind. I'm like, Mom, it is so crazy to me that like you don't block this man. Like, yeah, we might have to see him at like family parties and things like that. But like, I would just set him so straight and be like, Jared, You're so fucking weird. So now Jared is just pissed off that my mom has a different boyfriend. And like, the thing is, Jared fully met and talked to my mom's boyfriend at Christmas Eve. The thing is, I always tell my mom, I'm like, give me one shot. Like, just please let me just have a phone call with Jared so I could be like, bro, literally fuck all the way off. Like, literally stop being a fucking creep. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the sick and twisted part of my brain is like, what if I just like told Jared my mom's equally in love with him and make him propose to her at like Christmas dinner just because I find it fucking funny? And like, I just know my sisters would also eat that up. They'd be like, this is too funny. Like, just really play a huge fucking joke on my mom. But honestly, I really wouldn't be funny to Jared. He actually would think that he's getting married to my mother because he lives in the land of Delulu. And don't get me wrong, I'm a frequent visitor of the land of Delulu. But I'm not that Delulu where I would think my dead girlfriend's daughter would let me hit. Like, Jared's a different breed. And those are just a little bit of my weird family secret.
Do y'all know what season it is? Pisces season. My birthday in 4 days, and I will be marching on the 5th. But that's not why we're here. I might tell you a joke, but I never tell you a lie. I don't even know where to start. Let me forget it. Okay, so imagine you at work minding your business, doing what your company pays you to do, okay? You're working. You get a text message from somebody clearly playing on your phone that's saying, hey, is this such and such? You're like, who this is? So they ask again, well, is this such and such? Now, because you know bill collectors be sending text messages too, you like, I will not confirm or deny. Who are you? So they follow up with, is this such and such who live at such and such and work at such and such? And the such and such was all your information. So you like, okay, you have 3.5 seconds to talk before I call the police, before I call the CIA. You better start talking. So that's when they say, well, I'm gonna assume that this is you. My name is Mark, and I really need to meet with you. So you was like, well, I don't know no Marks. What you need to meet with me for? What's going on? So Mark says, well, I'm in town for a summer internship, and while I'm here, like, I really need to meet with you. So you're like, baby, I'm 36 years old. I'm not looking for no internship. I have a career. What we talking about? So he says, no, I'm the one in school. I'm here for my summer internship, but like, I really, really need to meet with you. So in the meantime, in between time, you're texting your friend that's the FBI agent, that's not an FBI agent, that is an FBI agent, that's not an FBI agent. Like, hey, figure out who this is playing on my phone. So she tells you, say less. So you tell Mark, okay, well, I'll meet you at the police department. So he says, are you serious? So you say, yeah, they have a little pavilion area where like people do custody exchanges and stuff. That's the perfect place because they don't close till 10 p.m. So he's like, oh, well, okay, I'm not trying to harm you or anything, so that's fine. We can be there. What time? So you say 6 o'clock. So he said, okay, see you there. This is what I'll be wearing. I'll probably be there before you. Now, mind you, trying to continue your work shift, but it's very, very hard because you can't stop thinking about who is Mark, what they want with you, like, what is going on? You also text your best friend and you fill her in, not to be confused with the one who's researching a number for you, okay? This particular friend is more like a sister to you. And so, because she's so supportive, she asks you, hey, do you want me to pull up with you? And you're like, no, because, I don't know who this is or what this about. I feel safe doing it at the pavilion. I have a lot of friends that's in law enforcement. I already hit one of them up. He gonna be on standby, just kind of walking around the pavilion, scoping out the scenery. So, baby, 5 o'clock couldn't come fast enough. You clocked out, gathered your things, and ran out of there. You had to fight some traffic, but you made it there like 5:55. You park, get out, head in, you make eye contact with your connect at the police department, and he let you know, like, I'm here, I got you, I see him, it's good. And you see Mark sitting at a table. He turns around and he recognizes you. He extends his hand and say, hi, it's nice to finally meet you, I'm Mark. And you look because you're like, you a child, like, how old are you? So he tells you he just made 18, like a couple of months prior. So you say him, okay, I'm all confused, like, please start talking. So he tells you that he was adopted. And when he made 18, he started looking for his biological family. He's been able to find out the identity of his dad, but the identity of his mom is still unknown. So you say, so in a matter of like 2.5 months, you've found your family, because you just said you said you just made 18 about 2.5 months ago. So he slides the card to you and he was like, well, this is what I'm in school for. This is what my internship is. And this at this big like tech firm. And you're well familiar with the tech firm. They do cybersecurity for a lot of big name companies. So you was like, oh, so you pretty much use the tools of your internship. Like, I can have you kicked out. He was like, just hear me out. So you say, keep talking. So he tells you, you're my sister. So you laugh, slide his little internship card back to him, and you're like, but where the camera's at? This got to be an episode of pranked with, because ain't no way. So you say, show me some proof. So he tells you that he doesn't have like actual files. The adoption was a closed adoption, but one of his adoptive aunties was able to link him with somebody who knew the biological father, and the biological father is your daddy as well. So he said, look, I'm not coming to interrupt y'all lives. I'm not coming to disturb y'all peace. He was like, I'm hoping that I could be a part of the family. If not, I just would really like to know where I came from. So, you know, if you could find out who my mom is for me, like, that would be great. Now, mind you, your mama, even though she in her 60s, she still, you know, work. But she travels for a living. Your daddy is a bridge attendant. So, you know, he open and close the bridges for barges and stuff like that. So he kind of like snap you out of your trance, and he was like, you know, so hello, are you going to help me? And so you like, you damn right, I'm going to help you, because we got to get down to the bottom of this. So you tell him to follow you to your mama and daddy house. Luckily, your mama is out of town. You tell him stay in the car while you talk to your daddy. So your daddy starts telling you, you know, I ain't make no outside children. He's lying. Like, I don't know what it is that he's looking for, but, like, it's not here. Like, you are my only biological child. You and that's it. So, mind you, praise to your daddy, bridge tending. Your daddy actually used to work for a social service agency because that's what his degree is in. But, you know, now that he's older and up in age, he didn't want to do that type of work. So, you asked him, well, could it be possible that one of your youths, like, utilize your name or something like that? And he was like, you know, yeah, anything is possible. So, you say, well, I'm about to bring him in so you can meet him, like, just so we could get down to the bottom of it. So you bring Mark in. Your daddy was like, hey, nice to meet you. You not my son. This is my only child. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, blah, blah. So Mark says, well, I know one way we could solve this. We could take a DNA test. You say, sure, you're right. You leave them to talk while you go run get a DNA test from Walgreens. Come back. Y'all do the little swab. Y'all send it off. Now, your daddy made you check that the results was going to be sent by a certified mail. He didn't want the results sent by email because he was like, nah, somebody could alter that, whatever. I want this sent by a certified mail so that it has to be signed for. So that's the option that you check. You was like, okay, no biggie. In the meantime, you told Mark, hey, look, it's nothing against you, but I'm really not trying to get to know you until I know for sure, you know, like what's going on. And Mark was like, I respect that. So you had got an email from the company like a few days after that saying, you know, hey, your results should actually be there today. Just so happy your daddy was sending a bridge. You didn't want to miss when that envelope came. So you skirt over there so you could sign for that envelope. And you made it there just in time. So as you're going to open up the envelope, your friend that is the FBI agent, that ain't an FBI agent, that is the FBI agent, that ain't an FBI agent, she starts to call you. And so you like, damn, you got bad timing. So she tells you, man, we got to meet. You kind of knew where the conversation was heading, so you went ahead and ripped the envelope open, and sure enough, your daddy is his daddy. So you drop to your knees, and you just start screaming. So your friend is like, stay at your mom and daddy house, I'm coming. You don't even call Mark yet because you got to gather yourself. Now, your friend stay about 30 minutes away, but she made it there in half the time. So, you know, she sits down, she consoles you. She's like, I really wanted to be here, like, when you opened that envelope. So you was like, man, look, let's just go ahead on and get it all out the way. What is it that you got to tell me? So she hands you a file folder with some information on her adoption. And sure enough, your daddy is the daddy. So you continue scanning the document looking for who the mama is. And before you can even process any more information, the room just starts spinning, followed by darkness.
You start to hear some of the family secrets that's been swept under the rug. You'll be like, damn, like a lot of y'all is some fucked up individuals. Like, what? But my thing is, they get older and they look at it like their life was just so perfect the whole time. Like, it's not that. Like, definitely not that. And by no means I'm saying anybody's life is perfect or anybody didn't make mistakes and they can't fix their mistakes. Baby, the stuff that I'm starting to hear about these people that I'm supposed to be related to by blood, baby. That shit's diblabilica, baby. It's diblabilica. Cause damn. Cause Faye definitely fucked her husband. Baby, that shit is insane. I just was paying attention, like, and I was like, damn. A lot of their asses is fucked up. And once you realize that, you'll start to look at them for who they is as a person versus what relationship, you thought you had with your folks. Cause, child.
Story time on how I found out my dad was molesting my 4-year-old daughter. I'm not doing these for attention, for clout, for none of that. If I can tell my story and help somebody else, that's what I'm gonna do. First thing I want to say is pay attention to your kids. Your girls, your boys, pay attention. It was the smallest thing that brought everything to light. Something that I could have absolutely overlooked, and I did not. Because I pay attention to my child. I look at everything. I pay attention to everything when it comes to her. I be paranoid, and it comes from my own childhood trauma. But anyways, so my dad lived about 2 hours from us. I had just finished school and I was about to start my extern. My husband worked during the day and I needed somebody to watch my daughter while I did my extern because she wasn't in school at the time. So my husband drove 2 hours, picked my dad up, brought my dad back to our house. So I started my extern. Everything was going good. Mind y'all, I ain't never told nobody this, but I was already paranoid. Like, it was something. I was paranoid that whole week. It was like little small stuff that was being done that kind of had me uneasy. But, okay, so the first thing was one day my husband was about to drop me off at my extern. It was like 8 in the morning. My daughter was in our room because my dad was in her room. So my baby was in the bed asleep. My husband and I, we were leaving the house. And we were outside, I want to say maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Because my husband, when we got in the car, he realized that he left something. And he got up to go in the house. And when he got to our bedroom door, my dad was at the door. Mind you, my baby is in there asleep. It's like 8 in the morning. Before we left out the house, we told him that she was sleeping. That was weird to me, but then again, you couldn't tell him nothing about his grandchild. He loved his grandchild. I was thinking, like, maybe she was whining or something and he went to check on her, but my husband was like, she sleep. Okay. So another time, it was like my second or third day of my extern. My baby was playing in there with him. And she came out and she was just standing in the living room. And I could see his shadow in the hallway, like with his hand, he was like beckoning her to come back to where he was, but he would never say it out loud, which was weird because if you just call her name. But it was like he was silently beckoning her, like he didn't want us to hear or see that he was calling her in the back where he was. Okay. After that, I don't know, I wasn't even a week into my extern when we found this out. Like, okay, he was doing little weird stuff, just weird stuff. And mind y'all, like I said, I lived with my dad my whole life. He got a bunch of nieces, a bunch of granddaughters. Everybody loved him, man. Ain't nobody ever said nothing out the way about him. No rumors. He ain't never did nothing to nobody. Like, he was just a host of fun. Everybody loved him. Like, that's why I'm shocked and hurt, like, to this day. Like, it still bothers me every day. But anyway, so one day, my baby, she came in there, like, she was still, like, at night, she had, like, she was, at the time, still, like, with the bed. So, she had on a pull-up because it was nighttime and she was getting ready to go to bed. So, she lay out on the couch and she put her hand in her pull-up. So, red flag, flag on the play, I don't play that. Why your hands in your pull-up? But of course, I was like, babe, why you got your hand right there? Like, what's wrong? Where you get that from? Somebody did that to you? I'm asking questions. She was like, yes. So, I already know. When you questioning a child, you do not say a name. Like, you don't say nobody's name. Because, you know, that child can just go with whatever you're saying. So I'm just like, somebody did that to you? I didn't say no name. Mind you, the only men in our house is my husband and my dad. And it could have been a woman. I got a bunch of cousins, whatever. It could have been a woman. So my husband, my dad, and sometimes my brother come around. But yeah, at the time, it was just us three in the house. So I'm like, somebody did that to you? And she's like, yeah. So I don't want to say a name. So I'm like, okay, baby, who did that? She was like, Pawpaw. That's what she called my dad. I'm like, Pawpaw, you know, I'm trying to get some clarity. Pawpaw changed you? Pawpaw, what, wiped you? Took you a bath? I can't say exactly what it was that she did. She showed me what he did. And she also said something that he did. And my heart just dropped. Like, dropped. I was crying so bad. I told my husband and my dad got into an altercation. And yeah, I called my auntie. My auntie lived down the street from me, and I told her. And she was like, oh, I just don't believe he did that. I don't believe, mind you, this my auntie on my mama's side. She was like, I don't believe he did that. Wait, I gotta do a part 2. Part 2 on how I found out my dad was saying my 4-year-old. And I'm emotional because I done recorded this part 2 like twice and they keep deleting, and I'm wondering if that's a sign, like, to just stop and let it go. But no. Okay, like I said, I called my auntie. My auntie was a police at the time in the town that we lived in. So, and she stayed right down the street. So naturally, I'm gonna call my auntie. I called my auntie. She came over, and I don't know if it was because I had just broke down crying, or because my husband and my dad had just had a argument and was yelling. But when my auntie started asking my baby questions, she would not answer the questions. And my auntie literally told me right there in my face, like, okay, I don't believe this. And my auntie might see this. Auntie, no hard feelings, but yeah, that hurt me. Anyways, so I'm getting emotional, y'all. Hold up. Okay, so my auntie said she didn't believe it and told me to take my baby to the hospital, which I was going to do anyway. I ain't see anything, but I still wanted to take her to get checked up. So we took her to the hospital. When the doctor came in, she told us off jump, like, usually you don't find no type of physical evidence with cases like that. But my baby ended up telling the doctor the same thing that she told us. And they called. Okay, we went to the hospital in Memphis because It's the closest hospital to the children's hospital in Memphis. It's the closest children's hospital near us, even though we stay in Mississippi. So they end up calling the police from Mississippi, because that's where we live, to the hospital in Memphis. And the police that call, that's the station that my auntie work in. So they came, took our statements or whatever, and the doctor had just told us that she saw something, and it could have came from constipation, like some strain with constipation, or it could have came from something else. And they could have taken her somewhere else and did an invasive testing, but it wasn't recommended. So I told my auntie that, and like I said, the woman wasn't sure where it came from, and I didn't want to do the invasive testing, so of course that's not going in nobody's paperwork or whatever. So my auntie was getting access to the files or whatever. So she called, like, talking about she didn't see anything about what I had just said. Of course you don't see it. We don't even know if that's where it came from, That upset me so bad, because you don't believe her, and now you looking at files talking about what you don't see. So anyways, they made it to where my auntie couldn't even access those files anymore, because I was so upset. And hardly nobody. Well, at first everybody was like, "Oh, that's so sad, and he wrong for that." But a year later, everybody his best friend, y'all. Everybody his best friend. Everybody always talk to him, and he miss y'all, and this, that, the third, y'all. My family, my mama people. Oh, you don't think she got that off YouTube? YouTube? Yeah, that is so hurtful. For people to doubt your child, that's hurtful. But I understand a little bit because of his character. Like I said, we all grew up together. My cousins, I got plenty of girl cousins. He got plenty of granddaughters, nieces. He never did this to none of us. None of us, y'all. He never made us feel uncomfortable in no type of way. My mom died when I was 14 years old. I lived with my dad my whole life. He got full custody of me. My dad never made me feel uncomfortable. He never did nothing to me. Never said nothing to me out the way. But the way my daughter said what she said, the way she demonstrated what he did to her, I would be a fool to deny my child. I would be a fool to just sweep that under the rug and be like, "Oh, she 4 years old. She don't know what she talking about. That came off YouTube." Y'all, these folks set up an interrogation for my baby 2 weeks after this incident happened. And I thought, it's 2 weeks later. My baby ain't gonna remember that. Y'all, when there's some truth to what your child is saying, one thing about it, when you lie or when you being untruthful, you gotta, it's hard to remember. But 2 weeks later, my 4-year-old went into the interrogation room with the police and CPS worker and the child therapist and repeated the same thing. She even told them stuff that she didn't even tell us because she was afraid to tell us. 45-minute long interrogation 2 weeks later. She did what needed to be done. That's the exact thing that the CPS worker said to me when they came out of their room. She was like, she did a good job. She said what needed to be said. They sent that tape over to a grand jury or something like that, y'all. That was a year ago. I don't know what's going on. So I've been messed up. I can't lie. My dad was literally all I had. all I had, my best friend, literally. So the fact that he did this to us, and I gotta sit up here a whole year later, and my baby come to me and she say she miss her papa. My baby want to see him. She wants to go to his house. She want to know why he didn't just apologize. She said, Mama, why didn't we just let him apologize? Why didn't we do that in the first place? Why he couldn't apologize like a real friend do? I had to explain to her, it don't work like that, baby. What he did, that's not right. You can't just let somebody do that to you and forgive them. She don't understand. And I'm fighting with this every day because not only did this happen to my child, but I lost my best friend in the midst of that. Because if you know me, you know that my daddy was literally my best friend. I'm talking about on the phone 4 and 5 times a day. Like, that's what kind of bond we had. And people want to know, like, why I be so angry at my family. Like, why wouldn't I be? I'm getting emotional. I gotta go.
I had people come in and tell me stories that I just think to myself, like, how did you actually, like, just the engineering of it? Like, I've had people who came in and they had 2 families happening at once, and neither of them knew about the other. Like, the mistress who he started a family with, like, thought he was divorced, and the wife thought that he was traveling for business, and, like, he would literally have Christmas with both. He would have Thanksgiving with both. Like, and he just found a way to sort of logistically do it. And I've seen things like that many times.
I recently found out about the big secret my father kept from me before he died. And what makes it worse is that it wasn't just a secret. It was something that he blatantly lied to me about. To be honest, I'm having a really, really hard time processing it. Especially since he's gone and I can't confront him about it. My parents got divorced at a really young age. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. My dad remarried a family friend and eventually moved in with her and started a new happy life without my sister and I. Although this situation is a lot more involved and more complicated than just him getting up and leaving us, it did impact everything I became and everything I am today. My entire life, I never felt like I was good enough for my father. And the reason is, I always felt like I was in competition with his stepkids. You know, these were his new wife's children, not his kids. But once he moved in with them, it was like he forgot about me and my sister. And he started inviting them to weddings and family celebrations instead of us. You know, we weren't invited over to the house anymore. My sister and I didn't have a bedroom to sleep in. When we slept over there, we would sleep on cots in the office. You know, and he did everything with them. He celebrated the holidays with them, Father's Day, his birthdays, you know, and we were never invited. There were even times where my sister and I didn't talk to him for years because we were just so angry with him for abandoning us like that. But as I got older, you know, and I became an adult and I started learning how hard life can be, especially as an adult, and making my own mistakes and making bad decisions and learning from them, I said, you know what? I think it's time to have a conversation with my dad as an adult and kind of get his side of the story. So 2 years ago, I started writing my book, Series of Unfortunate Men. And before I published it, I decided, well, my first chapter was all about my dad. You know, it was the first unfortunate man in my life, and it started the foundation for the rest of that. So he read the chapter. I decided to go back home and have a sit down with him so that we can really face to face have a conversation about this. And I said, you know, I have a lot of questions for you that I need answered to move on and, you know, in order to finish this book. And he was like, yeah, no problem. Ask me whatever you want. Like, I knew this day would come. I'm so happy that you want to hear my side of the story. Like, he was so excited about it. So we finally sat down for lunch one day in Brooklyn, and there were like 5 really big questions that I wanted to ask him, but I won't get into the rest of them. But one of the big questions I had for him was that he adopted his wife's kids. And I remember when I found out about that as a kid, I was devastated. Like, you chose them over us. Like, they are your children now. You adopted them, and it crushed me. And it's something I've held on to this day. So I asked him, I said, Dad, is it true that you adopted your wife's kids? I don't want to say their names. We'll just call them Blue and Red. Is it true that you adopted Blue and Red legally? And he was like, no, absolutely not. He's like, I never legally adopted them. Like, looked me in the eye and was like, no, absolutely not. And I was like, oh, I don't know where I heard that from. And he was like, well, you probably heard it from your mom. And I was like, no, I really thought I heard it from you, but I'm sorry, I guess I was wrong. We had the most amazing conversation. He confirmed a lot of things for me that I needed answered. And it made me, you know, like the inner child in me, it healed a lot of things for me. And I felt like I got a lot of closure from that conversation. And we were finally ready to move forward and start building a better relationship. That was a little over 2 years ago. My dad and I have been making more of an effort to have a relationship. I finally felt like I had my dad back. My dad passed away really unexpectedly and really quickly this year in July. He was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer, and he was gone within 5 weeks. A few weeks later, Red, one of his stepkids that he never adopted, posted something on Facebook, and it was a picture of him and her with documentation of adoption papers. This is the documentation. Not that I wasn't having a hard enough time already mourning the death of my father. Now I find out that he lied to my face. And now I'm asking myself, why? Why did you lie to me? Why couldn't you just be honest? And I'm just having a really hard time processing that because I'm mad at him. I'm mad at him. I'm disappointed and I'm upset and I feel betrayed and I can't even call him and ask him why. What do you do when someone was meant to take something to the grave with them and then it came out later? How do you handle that? I don't know if I could forgive him for this.
What's the family tea that you found out once you got older?
So this is my family. I'm one of 6. I'm the super cute girl in the all white with the super sweet haircut. See my mom and my dad, and right next to me in the striped shirt, that's my older brother. I am the second oldest of 6.
The second to the oldest thing, that's kind of important. So I'm one of 6, second to the oldest. And also my mom and dad were like super hippies, so they like never got legally married because, you know, they didn't believe like in government telling them what to do and that they needed a piece of paper to tell them they were in love, yada yada yada. Super like hippie to the max, okay? So my mom, on the first 3 of us on our birth certificates, she didn't put a dad because she figured, you know, if something were to happen, like in the relationship, whatever, back in the 80s, like, you know, if there was a dad on birth certificate, it was kind of hard to, like, you know, prove whatever unless you got DNA, et cetera, et cetera. Well, after the 3 of us were born, my mom decided for the next 3 that she would put a dad on the birth certificate because she figured we've been together for this long, whatever, we got 6 kids. Yeah. So fast forward, all 6 of us grow up together. My mom and dad never broke up. They both died of cancer when I was 20. Okay, so then I took over my siblings, started raising them, blah, blah, blah. And I've always been huge on like family history and genealogy, blah, blah, blah. So I did 23andMe because I was like, oh, I want to see like what our ancestry is. So then my siblings wanted to do it too. So one year for Christmas, I was like, cool, they're on sale. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys all 23andMe. They did. They got the results back, and I was like, oh, send me, like, link me to your thing. I was driving out of town, like in the middle of nowhere, when my sister sent me her thing, and I looked at it and I was like, that's weird. It like says you're my aunt or something. So I was like, hold on. So then I called my sister, my other one, and I was like, hey, link up to my thing. And I called my brother and I'm like, hurry up, link up to my thing. I'm like out in the middle of nowhere. So I like pull over and I'm like, what the heck? So then all of their things link, and then I see this.
Well, this isn't my normal content, but I guess finding out that your dad might not be dead isn't a normal day. A few years ago, I took an ancestry DNA test, and at the time I thought it was a little odd that there were no matches with my last name, my dad's last name, or his mom's maiden last name. So I didn't think anything of it until a few days ago. And I decided to log on to Ancestry.com and just look around, and I found that I had a first cousin on my dad's side. I didn't know who this person was, but I knew that they were not my dad's relatives. My biological dad is not my biological dad. So at this point, I'm going from thinking, okay, my mom's dead, my dad's dead, to there's a 50% chance that my biological dad is alive. To be continued.
How well do you know your in-laws? Christy was married to Kevin for almost a year before she met his family. Once she met his family, they loved her. His father absolutely doted on her. Soon after they all met, his father would start coming by their house pretty often, bringing snacks, watching movies, going shopping with them, being an all-out good dad and father-in-law. They go shopping for clothes one Sunday. Kevin's father says that he's getting divorced and doesn't have anywhere to stay. Kevin and Christy immediately offer him to come stay with them. So he gets moved in within the week. This is when everything starts. Soon after he moves in, she notices her dresser drawers being left open. Some of her clothes are disappearing. Her makeup palettes are broken and busted. Her nail polish bottles are empty. She wonders, is she going crazy? She goes and buys new underwear. Within a couple of weeks, those underwear are missing too. Well, one day she's having her monthly cycle. She goes in the bathroom to deal with it, gets cleaned up, and throws the product in the trash. A couple of hours later, she has to use the bathroom. She looks in the trash and realizes that wad of toilet paper and product are gone. She thinks, oh, well, she's living in a house full of men. They probably didn't want to see that in the trash can and threw it away. A couple of days later, she's doing some more laundry. She's doing some of her father-in-law's laundry. She takes his clean clothes to his bedroom. Then she decides to make his bed. He lived a lot messier than they did. While she's making the bed, she reaches under the pillow. She pulls out that product from the trash. When she puts her hand under the mattress, she finds her missing underwear and socks. That's when she finds the journal. He had been writing secret love notes to her since she first met him. In his journal, he even talks about wishing his son would just leave and divorce her so he could be with her, and how he's drilled a hole in the wall so he could secretly spy on her. This disgusts her, so she shows all of this to her husband Kevin. Kevin tells him he has to get out immediately. His father leaves. When they call Kevin's mother, they find out his father lied. She didn't kick him out like he claimed. He actually left her. He ran the sob story so they would let him stay with them. When Christy searched the bedroom even further, she found her toenail clippings, her feminine products. He had stolen pictures of her from her photo album. He had even stolen her high school and college ring, and a watch that her mother had given to her for graduation. Eventually, Kevin had to go out of town for work. That night, Christy woke up hearing sounds. When she sat up, she seen her father-in-law standing at the bedroom door. He said, the only thing standing between us is Kevin, so I'll take care of that problem, and then we can be together. She politely tells him she doesn't want to be with him and does not have any feelings for him, and that she's sorry if she ever led him on in any way. Now, she had changed the alarm code, so when he came in the house, it set it off. Police showed up soon after. Unfortunately, her and Kevin are still dealing with her father's stalking today.
So me and our daughter, our 5-year-old daughter, went and got tested today. Okay. And it said that I am...
Wait, why you take my baby to go
go get tested anyway. What do you mean? What kind of test? First of all,
I went
herself.
and got a DNA discovery thing so you find out where you come from, and kind of find out the child doesn't come from me. Yeah, 5 years. I can't even go crazy right now because the kids are asleep. So I'm trying to stay calm.
You raised her for
We
5
have 3
years
children,
anyway.
and the last one is not mine. How's this possible? Well, we know how it's possible, but guess what? Because the kids are asleep, I'm not going to turn violent. I'm not going to call you a bunch of names or cause a big scene. But you and that 5-year-old, who I do love, is going to have to leave the place.
No, because I pay bills here too, and her brothers and sisters is here. You ain't never about to separate my kids.
You are on none of the bills with your name. Technically,
yeah, okay, whatever.
You don't have your ID that says you live here. 1, 2, you see what that says.
Why would you do this?
What you mean, why would I do that? Are you serious right now? Now I don't give a shit. What do you mean, why would I do that?
That's still your child.
No, that's your child.
You raised her for
No,
5 years.
that's
Why
your
would
child. And yes, I do love her. I'm not denying that.
I mean, you're
But
not
I can't continue to raise a child that's not mine. I'm not doing that. What kind of father would I be to my other 2 children to show them the kind of weak man raises a kid that's not his?
What kind of man raises a child for 5 years and then try to kick her and her mother out?
No. What kind of woman portrays that as his child for 5 years?
Okay, it was a mistake.
A mistake?
And you raised her.
A mistake is putting extra ketchup on my french fries. A mistake is accidentally turning off the TV.
This is ridiculous.
How do you accidentally get pregnant by somebody else? Do you even know who the father is?
It doesn't matter who the father is.
It doesn't matter who the father is.
No, it doesn't.
Are you serious right now?
We've been in this house for 5 years raising that baby, and the other 2, they know each other as they know you as daddy.
No, yes, daddy, father, papa, all that good stuff. But guess what? It is what it is. You wasn't honest back then, and I'm gonna be honest with you right now.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? So I already called the police to come escort you out of here. You
called the police
100% because I didn't want no arguments. 100%. I didn't want no arguments.
You just
I didn't want no
started
fight. No. I ain't starting no argument.
Yes, you did.
I am ending a problem.
Oh my God.
That's what we're doing.
Now we're a problem.
No.
Now we're a problem.
Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I love the little girl, but I'm not gonna continue to be a father to a child that's not mine, and I'm not gonna be loyal to a woman who was never loyal to me.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe you didn't do this shit.
I need to talk to you. Yeah, I'm pissed right now. Yeah, why the fuck the DNA test say our baby ain't mine?
What are you talking about?
What you mean what I'm talking about? I took a DNA test for our baby and the test came back saying the baby not mine. So who the fuck is the baby daddy?
When did you take a DNA test for our
Listen, don't worry about all that. So you been lying? You been keeping secrets?
Oh my God, I couldn't even I don't know what to say. Like, that's not even.
What you mean you don't know what to say? Tell me who's the fucking baby daddy. That's what you can tell me. Who's the fucking baby daddy?
I mean, it's you.
Stop playing with me, baby mama. The fucking test says I'm not the fucking baby daddy, so who's the fucking baby daddy? You playing, though.
My landlord?
The landlord? Are you serious?
If you
So you mean to tell me you fucking the landlord? I'm paying this man rent money and he fucking you on the side? I ain't got shit to say to you.
Look at this. That's the proof right there. That's it. I'm lying from the very beginning.
No, you didn't. Really?
No, you always
So you went and got DNA test without asking me first?
Yes, I did.
No, this is fake. This is
only
fake.
problem I have is
This
I wish
fake.
I had done it a long
This
time
is
ago
fake,
when
I
it
swear.
first crossed my mind. 0. You know what 0 is.
How could you sit here and do this without me?
What? I don't need your
You
permission.
had no right. This is not your business. This is my child.
No, it's family business.
You know what?
Listen.
You try to take everything from this is just to prove a point A.
Listen.
It's to prove a point A.
Say anything to you, you do whatever she says. She say jump, you jump. And
She
I
said
bet
you
you,
told
even
me.
information, you still gonna keep it.
This is my woman and my child. This has nothing to do with you.
Yes, it does. Listen, I put $10,000 in that child's college fund. Lord knows what it's up to now. No, what?
Because I already know how you act. Every time we ask for something or do something, you throw it in our face.
Listen, boy, that's why we don't have a good relationship now. You don't listen. Face the truth. Face the truth. You never want to face the truth. That girl ain't never gonna be about nothing. Face that fact. Deal with that.
Get you out of my
You're right.
I don't want you nowhere near us. You stay away from my kids. You stay away from my woman. You stay away from everything that has to do. I'm so sick and tired of you. I'm sick and tired of you.
What? You know what, boy? I didn't raise no boys. And I'm not about to do it now. Why don't you man up? Take that, boy. Take that. Face the truth. And just admit you made a mistake. For a time in your life, admit you made a mistake.
that little bit of money, you sit and act like you better than everybody else. That's why we always talking about you at family meetings. In church, nobody can stand you, mama.
Oh
and we
my
sit
God.
here and we put up with this all day long, every day. What is wrong with you?
So you
Do you
mad
know
at
what this
me?
is? Do you know what this means? And it means nothing to you.
What does it mean
This
to
is
you?
my life. This is my child's life. And you sit here and try to prove a point. And
That
take
child
one away.
is not yours. She's
Over
not your child.
$10,000.
She's not my grandchild. Face the facts for a fact. You know what? You just like your daddy. Always want to live in a fake world. That ain't real. Live in the real life. Just admit you made a mistake and start over. Get you a new woman. There's a lot of them out here. Real ones. Not this fake you doing. You act like you hear. It's other women. What about the lady next door? She ain't nothing wrong with her. What's wrong with her? What?
It's the last time. I'm not coming over.
Oh, you will. Yes, you will.
Here.
I'm here to drop her off at the party.
Man, why are you here? I told you I don't want no dealings, no obligations, nothing. You had me thinking that this girl was mine for 6 years.
This ain't got nothing to do with her. This
What
between
you mean this
me
ain't got
and
nothing to do
you.
with her? So it ain't had nothing to do with my pockets either then
You-
for the last 6 years.
You are the only father she know. You've been her daddy for 6 years. Don't take this
understand.
out on
I
her.
ain't taking it out on her.
I already talked to Doll, and Doll said it's
Doll,
okay for her to come to the party.
You supposed to be my blood.
It don't matter. I invited her. The only reason I'm here is because Doll said I could drop her off.
Y'all gotta go. You, her, and your brother gotta go.
Come up, my baby. This ain't got nothing to do with her. You're not about to take this out on my baby. That ain't right.
Look, bro, I ain't with this, bro. I ain't messing with that party, man. Y'all tripping, bro. Y'all need to leave.
Hey, don't talk to my
We're
sister.
not
No, bro,
going
you need to
nowhere.
leave. You need to leave, bro. I'm telling y'all need to leave. Y'all need to leave, bro. Y'all need to leave, bro. Y'all need to leave.